I'm here at the Twin Ring Motegi in Japan to drive a number of Honda cars, but there are two of them that really stand out of interest to me. The one behind me, which you see as the Fit, but is actually the Jazz that we have in the Indian market. This is the new Jazz. You can expect it end of 2014. And the other one will be the Mobilio, which is the Brio-based MPV. Now that's going to be Honda's first MPV in the Indian market. It'll go up against the likes of the Ertiga. And I'm going to have a very short drive, first impression of these two cars. Let's see what they're like. Launched in 2009, the Jazz was a great product, but a bit too pricey for the people, and it only came with a petrol engine. This time around, Honda's doing things differently. The car will be produced at the Tapukura plant, and it will be available with a diesel engine as well. The new Jazz has a sleeker, sportier grille, and the large air vents on the bumper make it look more dynamic. There's a strong character line that runs from the tail lamp to the front along the door handles. Milder character lines adorn the bottom of the doors, and combined, they make the Jazz look a little more muscular. The front quarter glass is smaller and now triangular in shape. And with the window line being more raked, there's a slightly smaller rear window too. On the inside, the cabin has a familiar feel, but there is a new instrument cluster. Now on the engine front, what we're driving here won't come to India, so really can't comment on it. But you will see the 1.2-litre engine in India, and it will be a little more peppy and still more fuel efficient. The car we drove had the 1.5-litre petrol, but that will not come to India. What we will see will be the 87 bhp 1.2-litre petrol and the 1.5-litre 98 bhp diesel that's seen on the Amaze. Now, though Honda are working hard on localizing and cost-cutting to make this car more affordable, the key here will be for them to insulate the car from the engine sounds as well, as this is one of the biggest complaints of the Amaze diesel owners, who find the engine too noisy. On the inside, the Jazz was always recognized as being a very spacious hatch, and it remains so. So at the back, it's still the familiar Jazz, lots of space here, good legroom, nice wide seat, that flat floorboard. But you know, the center part of the seat is raised, so third passenger may not be all that comfortable sitting there. However, you have that central fuel tank which gives you a bit of a footrest. On the whole, airy, spacious, nice and comfortable at the back. Pop open the boot, and just like the older Jazz, you'll be impressed by how spacious it is. With a diesel engine under its hood and priced right, Honda could have another winner on their hands. From the Jazz, we went to see Honda's first people mover, the Mobilio. When it launches, it will be an Ertiga competitor. And like the Ertiga is based on the Swift platform, the Mobilio is based on the Brio platform. Honda have worked on making the Mobilio look different to the Brio and the Amaze, and though the overall front styling is still the same, it now has a wider grille and a new chin. On the side, there's clever styling to mask the car's elongated proportions. There's a kink in the window line and two upward moving character lines along the body. There are also the flared wheel arches and a floating design for the rear pillar of the car, which is part metal and part blacked out glass. The rear is probably the best angle. The wraparound rear windscreen, flared haunches, big tail lights and an attractive split at the bottom make it look quite modern. It's not easy to take a smaller platform and put a bigger body onto it, and there's bound to be some compromise, but Honda's design team have done a good job, and the Mobilio is an attractive MPV. But people buy MPVs for practicality more than style, and the Mobilio will give that to you with 3 rows of seats. The version we saw was still a prototype and not final, but as expected, the cabin uses the same dashboard from the Brio and Amaze, which is a bit of a disappointment. The prototype had an all-black dash with beige seats. The second row of seats was very comfortable, and they slide as well to make room for the third row. Honda's ability to make space inside smaller outer proportions definitely comes through. The third row has enough space as well, but for short people. The boot is particularly impressive for a compact MPV. With 3 rows upright, it could hold a suitcase and a couple of soft bags. You can expect the Mobilio to be powered by the same Amaze diesel motor, and that will definitely have an edge over the Ertiga on drivability. It's expected mid-2014 and will be priced about 30,000 more than the Ertiga. Well, day 2 in Tokyo, and it's time for the Tokyo Motor Show. The first stall we walked into was Nissan, and the large shiny red X-Trail caught my eye. This X-Trail is expected to come to India in 2014. Sharper styling and rounder contours make it less boxy than before, and in fact, it looks quite good. It's also grown in size. So, it's the back seat that's really most important for us, and that's what I'm checking out first. Now, as you can see, loads of room here. I have ample leg room, nice wide seat, flat floorboard, easy for the third passenger, good headroom, and to boot, well, literally that, there's a very large boot behind me. So on all counts, this SUV, extremely spacious. The interior is also more modern and well-styled. There was a large information display and a thick leather-wrapped steering with a host of controls. But what I didn't like was the plastic quality. For an SUV that will be priced in the 30 lakh bracket, it looked a tad cheap. From a large SUV to a small one at the Suzuki stall. So what's interesting at the Suzuki stall for us is something that we might see in India. Well, this is the IB4, it's a concept. You won't see it exactly as it is, but Maruti is going to be aggressive in the SUV space, and you can expect an SUV based on this kind of platform. Of course, styling cues will definitely be taken from here. The IB4 concept was present to show Suzuki's intent to step into the international SUV market. You can expect an all-new compact SUV to rival the likes of the EcoSport with a lot of styling cues from the IB4. Now, whilst all I'd seen so far was a little distant in the future for India, something that was coming soon caught my attention. Porsche's flagship model, well, in a more stylish form, convertible and with loads of power. This is the Turbo S. Now, we're expecting it in India real soon. And what can I say? All of the launches last year really impressed us. We had loads of fun driving them. As you saw, we drooled over all of them. This one definitely drool-worthy too. The Porsche 911 Turbo S is the fastest accelerating car that Porsche has ever placed into open-ended series production. With a 0 to 100 of 3.1 seconds, it's faster than the Ferrari 458. There's a turbo boost function that increases the boost pressure and gives you added punch too. This Turbo S will only be produced with an auto gearbox and no manual option. It's one of the fastest cars that you're likely to encounter, and with the multi-clutch controlled four-wheel drive system now becoming electro-hydraulic, this should be a car that will be definitely thrilling to drive. Also unveiled here was Porsche's baby SUV, the Macan. It shares the same platform as the Audi Q5 but looks like a shrunken Cayenne and feels like the right size for India. The question is, will it be the right price? It's wider and longer than the Q5, but it sits lower. And that's what the Porsche guys are saying. It's meant to feel like a sports car, and it's for this reason that even the seat positioning on the inside is low. The name Macan is derived from Indonesia, where it means tiger. And this crouching tiger will be ready to leap forward with a range of engines. But the most powerful one will be the newly developed twin-turbo 3.6-litre V6, which develops 394 bhp. You can expect Porsche's great dynamic capabilities to make it a thrilling package. Well, Jaguar is saying this is their most dynamically capable, performance-focused car ever. And it's worth believing because this is all aluminium. It's got a 5-litre V8 under the hood and a host of other technologies. Well, apart from all of that, I think it's just the way it looks. Feast your eyes on this stylish car. The proportions are perfect and the F-Type Coupe is a head-turner for sure. The front has all the styling cues from the original, but viewed from the profile, the arched roofline rolls over to the muscular haunches at the rear, making this coupe look extremely stylish. It was hard to take my eyes away from the Jag, but it was time for the big Honda unveil. The S660 was unveiled. It's still called a concept, but it will make it to production next year and will be powered by a 660cc 3-cylinder turbo engine mated to a 7-speed gearbox. This open-top mini sports car is definitely interesting, but at this time designed only for sale in Japan. The unveil at Honda that caught our attention more was this. Based on the Jazz City platform, this is the VEZEL that was launched here today by Honda. Now this is the mini SUV that they were looking at bringing into the Indian market. At the moment they're still thinking about it because they feel it'll be a little too pricey because there's the likes of the Duster and EcoSport which make competition really tough. The VEZEL doesn't look all that compact. From the front it's got very strong SUV cues, with the massive bumper that molds itself at the center to give way to a large, typically Honda grille. But viewed from its profile, it looks more crossover than SUV. The sloping roofline and the windows that taper down to the handles in the C-pillar all add up to give it a coupe kind of look. On the inside, in the back seat, the VEZEL has ample space and the large boot is cavernous enough to swallow a couple of suitcases. The interiors look nice and modern and are of good quality overall. And despite what Honda officials think, at 15 to 16 lakh, I think there would definitely be takers for the VEZEL. Across at BMW, there was blaring music and quite a crowd. So I went to see what the fuss was all about. Well, it's always rocking in a Mini stall and more so now because the new Mini has made its debut. What's changed? Well, it's a brand new platform, it's a larger car, there's changes to the interiors and it has a brand new 1.3-litre direct injection engine as well. The dimensions having increased has opened up more space on the inside, but still the back would be a squeeze. Up front there has been some tweaking as well and the speedo and rev counter have now been moved behind the steering wheel instead of being in the central mounted info display. The large circular display still remains, but it carries other information now. BMW also had the global unveil of the 4 Series Cabriolet. It's lower, longer and wider than its predecessor and comes with a 3-piece folding roof that lowers in 20 seconds. Now, I was looking for this at the Toyota stall and couldn't find it, so I was a bit disappointed, but tucked away in a dealer stall, I found it. Well, for the fans of Toyota who've been worried about Toyota being too silent in the Indian market for too long, well, here's what you can expect next year. This is the new Corolla. Well, as you can see, far more stylish than the older one. Design cues have changed entirely. Take a closer look. It will make its debut at the Auto Expo and officially launch next May, but we're already giving you a sneak peek at it. It may be more stylish than before, but compared to the competition, it still looks conservative, especially when viewed from the rear. The interiors we saw are unlikely to be the ones you get back home, but you can expect the same form and function of the dash. Well, that's all we have time for in this show, and I hope you've enjoyed watching. When I first came to this show, I thought it's small. It's smaller than Frankfurt, smaller than Geneva. There won't be so much, but there's always so much to take in a motor show. End of the day, my feet are killing me as usual. Goodbye.